You wake up with a swollen head and a mouthful of blood. Your sense of smell is assaulted by the damp, musty dungeon scent that penetrates your nostrils. As you struggle to open your eyes, you seem to hear whispers emanating from the walls around you. My child, wake up, my child. Explore the dungeon, my son. You must learn your surroundings. This is Horripilant, developed by Alexandre Declos under Past Game Studios and published by Black Lantern Collective. Horripilant describes itself as an idle, incremental dungeon crawl. Simple, but there is a bit more going on here. The game blends point-and-click adventuring, idle mechanics, roguelike progression, puzzles, and wraps it up, surprisingly, in a pretty bleak horror atmosphere. And it definitely caught my attention first was the art style. Browsing Steam, I stumbled across a rather ominous thumbnail, a free demo, positive Steam reviews. Naturally, I tried it. And close to about 30 hours of total runtime, I had finished the game with all achievements and I want to talk about it. So what exactly is the gameplay loop of Horripilant? Well, you begin by farming materials. There are three types of materials: wood, which you start with, then there's stone, and iron, which are later unlocked. These materials correspond with differing types of upgrades you have on your gear. Take the sword, for example. Wood directly improves your damage, stone increases your chance to crit an enemy, and iron increases the damage of that crit. It's pretty simple. These materials also let you hire workers. Workers generate more materials, which lets you buy upgrades, which lets you survive deeper dungeon floors, which lets you collect more resources, which lets you upgrade again. And so you begin to rapidly spiral down below. Before every descent, the game presents a short piece of atmospheric text describing the staircase below you. Your character appears to be some kind of knight trapped in this abyss, and the only way out is down. When you start off, combat looks like this, but then the dungeon itself is notably filled with monsters. These range from rats, crows, skeletons, spiders, bugbears, bats, abominations beyond our comprehension, and oddly enough, dwarves. Truly the most fierce race in any fantasy setting. Combat is mostly automatic, but it includes quick time events called weak spots. Click them in time, you deal bonus damage. You can disable them if you want the game to run completely idle, but I keep them on because I refuse to turn my brain off. I am not a casual. After clearing each floor, you're offered boons. These are small bonuses like minor stat boosts, healing, or temporary improvements. Individually, they're small, but when you're descending some hundreds of floors in a single run, they stack into something much more significant. At first, progress can be slow, but the game introduces a rebirth mechanic. Rebirthing lets you reset your run in exchange for permanent upgrades, dramatically accelerating future attempts, reducing hour-long grinds into mere minutes. As time passes, new rooms unlock. One of these rooms introduces a grotesque creature who can grant you a familiar through a process that is, let's say, deeply unpleasant. After that, you can go back into the dungeon. Further down, always reaching further. Horripilant also displays a surprising amount of decent environmental storytelling. Every major milestone unlocks new items, lore fragments, or puzzle pieces. The game includes several puzzles that break up the idle gameplay. Some are simple, others require you to pay close attention to your surroundings, following vague advice given and clues given to you by several NPCs. You'll interact with your base more often than not. The coffers, the barrels, cracks in the wall, a strange portal, and hidden objects. The game does not treat you like an idiot. It gives you hints, but it doesn't solve the puzzle for you. a gentle nudge instead of flashing arrows and NPCs whining in your ear is much appreciated. However, the deeper you go, the more questions appear. Who am I? Who is the man in the hole? What exists beyond this dungeon? And why was I placed here in the first place? Each time you hit a milestone and solve a new puzzle, it begins to slowly reveal fragments of truth. On the 1000th floor, you will be greeted by a locked door, not to be revisited until you've completed the last puzzle. By the time you reach the 1000th floor, solve the final puzzle, and defeat the last boss, Horripilant delivers a surprisingly memorable ending. One that either concludes, or perhaps continues the story of the knight trapped in this dungeon. After the credits roll, you unlock an endless mode, but progression mostly stops there. The game only released on February 21st. I'm ultimately very curious to see whether the developer expands it further with any updates or DLC, because honestly, I'd happily return to this dungeon again, but for now, I'll leave the rest of the horrors for you to discover. Thank you for watching. Watch my Half-Life videos.